You gonna pick up the sticks. You gonna do what? You gonna spend you ain't spending shit. You gonna get your ass up and you're gonna go down to that police precinct and make a report.
All right, listen, y'all. We got an update in the Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty controversy, and things are getting talked about again. For those who don't know, Pooh Shiesty's lawyer recently sat down for an interview to address the kidnapping and robbery allegations, and he straight up pushed back on the narrative. According to him, this whole idea that Pooh Shiesty and others went to Staples to print a contract that Gucci Mane was allegedly forced to sign to get Pooh Shiesty released from the label is not accurate. Instead, the lawyer claims they actually went to print lyrics that would later be used in a studio session with Gucci Mane. Now listen, that's his lawyer speaking, so of course he's doing his job defending his client. But he's also saying the feds don't really have solid physical evidence proving Gucci Mane was robbed and forced into signing anything. Now we can't forget Gucci Mane did drop a track last week called Crash Dummy, where he spoke on feeling betrayed and going into a meeting only to realize he might have been set up. He didn't go into every detail in the song, but it definitely added more fuel to the conversation. And now people are also bringing up claims involving Big 30, saying he may have had video footage of the incident on his phone, and has even talked that the phone was destroyed. But at the same time, everybody knows how phones work now. Cloud backups, data storage, all of that still exists, so nothing is really as simple as it sounds. At this point, it really feels like we're in a wait and see what the feds actually present situation. And recently, the Let's Rap About It podcast also weighed in on the whole controversy, breaking down their reaction to everything going on. So now it's back in the spotlight again, and people are debating hard online. Some were even criticizing Pooh Shiesty's lawyer for how he framed the situation, especially the Staples printing lyrics claim. But again, that's literally his job, to build a defense while the courts figure out what's true and what isn't. So now I gotta ask, what do you think about these new updates in the Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty situation? And what's your take on the podcast reaction too?
We're justified to take matters into their own hands.
I got my A&R punched in his shit before.
Yo.
Yeah. He was lucky that's all he got.
Yeah, it's been a couple. We did a couple things that I wouldn't.
No, it ain't no hypothetically. I was coming across the stage. Yo, he said, yo, what up? I said, go punch in his shit.
I didn't say hypothetically. I said there's been a few things that I've done to might not be the best thing to get out of deals and things like that. But
punch
hey,
that shit.
You live and you learn. As we go, I guess this is stemming from Gucci Mane and the Pooh Shiesty incident. Though we don't know all the ins and outs, only what the media is saying. But yeah.
I get it. I understand what from both angles what was going on. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just gonna say like that type of shit it don't work, because if it worked, I would have been doing it. Yeah, trust me, I would have been with it.
We got away with a couple of those.
Yeah, I would have been doing it right now. I'd have been doing that.
Got away
right
with
now.
a couple of those.
I
think that's more like pre-social media.
Yeah,
I think since social media dropped, that ain't really that's hard. It's harder to do that now because you viral in the morning. Back then, y'all feel like before social media, you could, you know what I mean, pull up.
They thought,
and they was word up like had to hear about that, like you know what I mean. Like now, there's cameras everywhere. They got footage of getting. Oh, I mean, it's footage.
They was
of
banking
everything.
on Gucci being on the street. I'm telling you what happened. That's what they was banking on.
It's footage of everything. Cameras is crystal clear.
I don't know what happened, but if it did happen the way I'm thinking about
how it happened, man.
First of all,
I have to hear the main
here's
version.
The discrepancy. They saying that Gucci Mane may have pointed the guy out. I'm not, based on what it says. It says it I'm like, well, I don't know, right? But then I started to really analyze it. And I looked at Gucci's wife, and I said, "Oh shit, she runs shit." So then I thought about the conversation he had that when he got off the plane and he got back home. She said, "Motherfucker, you ain't no street no more. You a businessman. You gonna get your ass up. What you gonna do? What? You gonna pick up the sticks? You gonna do what? You gonna you ain't spending shit. You gonna get your ass up." And you're gonna go down to that police precinct and make a report. Okay,
that's how that works.
You are a businessman. You are not a street no more. Okay, if you want to save this relationship, and they got the wedding band, you're gonna get that back. That's what I believe happened. That's what I believe happened.
What we're not going to do here is we're not feeding into what social media says. We just
did it.
We're trying to state a fact of
fact.
how to handle business.
No, but do you think that his wife made him go down there and point the finger? If he did.
I don't think in today's time in society and what's going on with social media, me personally, I don't feel like any business that's the way to go. You know what I mean? Like, I get it if you feel like you're being f***ed over, but everything is going to be exposed.
But legally,
unless you really like getting off the grid and doing something.
Imagine you running up in the Mass Appeal up on Nas with the Dracos.
I couldn't picture it because it's like, for what?
I would advise any
I don't
artist
understand that
to handle business in a business fashion. You know, get you a lawyer. I don't think we are in any times where you could just take matters in your own hands and it's just not the time. So I think, like, especially you're in the music business, so there's contracts involved. There's, of course, you know, these are street artists that are also involved in hip hop, but this is not a street business. It doesn't work. That doesn't have the same street codes and ethics. The people who operate through it, everybody in it is not rooted through the streets. So this is a business. So anything that goes on, I would advise people to like get a lawyer and find out what way you can fight in that way. In
the line gets blurred though.
You could be, but you just said some real shit. You could be street, but this is not a street business.
But that line gets blurred.
You know what I'm saying?
The content. So people say, "Oh, Gucci's a street." You know.
Yeah, but the music is street. The that's cutting them checks, they not street.
Also because what he presents.
The people that cut the checks 9 times out of 10, that's street.
Let's dive into more what Spiz was saying. In this situation, say it all went through and we didn't even see what was going on in the media, and maybe they pulled it off. Well, but when Gucci leaves and then call his lawyer in the morning, like, I ran into some shit where people had pressure on me and they made me sign these papers, it's false. The lawyer is now going to, it's not that easy because they made him, like, at the end of the day, there's no way to get around what he has signed. You heard that he signed the paper that needed lawyers and all type of shit, present, consent, all, you know how this shit go. It's like,
and they said he said that in there. They said he said, yo, you know, this ain't how it's supposed to go. It's, you know, you got to get the lawyers. The lawyers got to. They said, shut your bitch ass up before we shoot you.
See,
but listen, this is another.
I'm just saying what happens. I'm just trying to say what happens legally. Like at the end of the day,
I had this combo earlier. Not to cut you off, Cabo. Being a young artist, right? Being a young artist, now it takes, I think, maturity. It takes years in this shit to look at it a certain way. But I feel like when you young, you thinking about the money. The person that signed you is somebody you looked up to. That's somebody you was a big fan of. So you not talking with no lawyer. You not dealing with none of the business aspects of the shit. Now your lawyer might be, you know what I mean, all of that has to still get handled, but the person you dealing with is the artist. So when it come down to it, you feel like if shit don't go right, you don't feel like the business you over. You feel like the artist you over.
Got it.
The person that signed you, the person that was co-signing, the person that was in the pictures with you.
Yeah, but so let's check this out.
The person that got you hot.
So check this out.
You get what I'm saying?
If Gucci, so
I see both sides of that.
Let's say if he did have 25 million, right? However that may be. If he did have 25 million legally, it must have been through whatever they negotiated on contract for Gucci to end up 25 million. So when we all get in the game, a lot of, like myself, for me to get in the game, since I can say I was a professional in this game, I took the deal that they had for me. Because I figured when I get in the game, I'm gonna make this deal better. I'm gonna go MVP on. So we forget about what we agreed to when we first get into it, and then we become super successful sometimes, and now we seeing everything that we supposed to have, but we agreed to something already because we want to get in the game. I mean, I'm just talking.
No,
and you know what I mean? And so it's like, I know a lot of that and a lot of what Dave is saying also. Like I said, it could be a bunch of things that could determine the factor of somebody crashing out. I don't know none of these factors and shit like that, you dig? So I hope all of that get handles.